A football club resigned Brazilian midfielder Willian. Hello, and thanks for joining us. This is TVC News at 7. Let's begin in the nation's capital, where the House of Representatives says it received 31 memoranda seeking to create 31 new states. Deputy Speaker and Chairman Committee on Constitution Review, Benjamin Kalu, said this at Thursday's plenary. National Assembly correspondent Jake Adisa reports.
The sixth alteration to the 1999 Constitution is on course. Deputy Speaker Benjamin Kalu is the chairman of the committee. He reads out a list of memoranda for the creation of 31 new states, cutting across the 6 geopolitical zones of the country. A breakdown shows that the North Central region is demanding for 6 new states, the Northeast wants 4 more, the Northwest seeks an additional 5 states, Southeast is asking for 5, South-South 4, and Southwest 7. Benue Ala, Apa Agba, and Apa states are proposed to be carved out from the present Benue state, while Okun, Okura, and Confluence states are proposed from Kogi state.
In the accordance with Section 8.3 of the Constitution, the outcome of the votes of the state houses of assembly, the referendum must be forwarded to the National Assembly for further legislative action.
A motion of urgent national importance from Minority Leader calls for the suspension of all divestment processes by international oil companies.
Independent assessments, including those by the United Nations Environment Program, UNEP, and the Bayelsa State Oil and Environment Commission, have documented the catastrophic environmental and health impacts of oil exploration in the Niger Delta.
To put an end to the recurring gas explosions and attendant tragedies, the House calls on the Standards Organization of Nigeria and the Nigeria Customs Service to see that only standard, unexpired and quality gas cylinders, tanks and truck kits are imported into the country.
The ugly incidents of gas explosion in various cities of the country with the attendant loss of lives, injuries to persons, and loss of properties are continuing to be unabated.
Kwara State lawmaker Mukhtar Shagaya wants attention given to the proliferation of fake and substandard goods.
The federal government to strengthen the capacity of regulatory agencies, particularly NAFDAC and the Standards Organization of Nigeria and the Nigeria Customs Service, by providing adequate funding, modern equipment, and advanced technology for effective surveillance, detection, and enforcement.
To boost the nation's tourism sector, the House wants the central government to provide every available support to promoting the Igbo Twins Festival and Idiri Hills, both in Oyo State, southwest Nigeria. Joke Adisa, TVC News, Abuja.
Our Public Affairs Analyst Biodun Showunmi joins me on the news for more updates. Good to have you join us.
Good evening.
So those who speak in favor of this particular, on the creation of more states, say that the reason they do that is because for them it will ensure the parity when it comes to the issue of parity when it comes to number of states in geopolitical zones. I want to get your reaction to that if you share the same opinion.
Well, unfortunately, I don't tend to see it that way. The simple reason is we witnessed more development when we had the confederal arrangement, which is we had the 3 regions, Western region, Eastern region, and Northern region, than what we are witnessing recently. Many of these states without federal allocation are not viable, the ones we have currently. If we are creating more states now, to end up having over 60 states, we'll be having more states than United States of America. America only has 50 states. And therefore, what will be the rational basis for that? Land-wise, we are not bigger than California. Population-wise, we are not top to America. What would be the basis? And if you talk about the second biggest country in the world, Canada, in terms of land size, Canada only has 13 states, equivalent of states, which is made up of 10 provinces and 3 territories. So what would be the justification? We are looking at a situation where some may have a legitimate claim. For instance, when you look at the agitations from the Jebus, it has been on for a long time, over the fact that that province, the whole province has not been splitted into two. If you look at the issue of Oyo State is so large to the extent that 5 of the existing southern states are not up to the size of Oyo State. So what would be the justification in splitting ourselves into, smaller units when in reality they will not be viable? They will end up only, not depending on federal allocation alone, but accumulating debts, for those states through the financial institutions. What we need is to generate the resources which the federal government is making.
I will get to what we need at the moment, but because you stated that justification for that, I know that even at this moment we're dealing with border conflicts arising from how some of these states were created. There is also the issue of joint property. For example, the Lautech case that was on for a very long time between Oyo and Osun and just recently resolved. Don't we stand a chance to have more of this kind of conflict when we create more states?
We are likely going to have that, but those are not the major issue. The issue is actually the viability. The fact that the efforts and progress made so far, in terms of generating more resources, will now be depleted into paying overhead costs, paying salaries, and that's what it is. It may not necessarily stimulate development in the new states. We know currently that there are many states in Nigeria that cannot survive without federal allocation. And where do they get the necessary IGR, to invest in development issues? So we will end up only with jobs for the boys, just create new houses of assembly with all the necessary costs attached to it. Same thing with the judiciary, same thing with the executive. I don't think this is the time, for a creation of more states to the point of even doubling the existing states. If we need to create states, I don't think there can be any justification for more than 2 or 3 in addition to what we have currently.
Well, we'll see how some of the places you've mentioned, especially the Southeast, will also react to all of this. Thank you so much for your time. Public Affairs Analyst Biodun Showunmi.
Thank you for having me.
I was staying in the National Assembly where the Senate has confirmed Captain